Hello everyone, good morning. Can anyone confirm audible or not? So today's our workshop is related to how to create our own React library. Once you created that library, you have to publish that library. Whenever you publish, then only the remaining people in this world can use that library. So you have to create your library first and then you have to publish it. Once it is published, as an end user, you can test it which library you publish, that library is like working as expected or not, you need to test. Okay, so this is our goal. Okay, first of all, tell me some libraries in your application. For example, you are working for any JavaScript related technologies like Angular or Vue or Backbone.js or React. Okay, there has some libraries usually we are going to use, right? So tell me some libraries what you use in your application, usually in your application. For example, simple thing. If you are using like a React, if you are using like a React, first thing is like in your application, React library should download and you have to download that library and you have to use it or not. Same like this React DOM also one library or not. If it is like a React application, these two libraries are like mandatory or not. The next thing is like, for example, if you want to make it like your application is like responsive, most of the times we are going to use like a bootstrap or not. This is also one kind of library only. If you want to use it, this bootstrap somebody already created, they published. I am the person, just I am going to use it or not. Okay, like this, different libraries are there. Okay, different libraries, you can say different packages are there. So in this world, how many JavaScript related libraries are there? JavaScript libraries or packages are there? How we can find it? How we can find it? If you want to find all the JavaScript related libraries or packages, we have, okay, one website is there, npmjs.org. Okay, the website name is like npmjs.org. Now, if you go here, just you can write npmjs, type npmjs, npmjs.com. If you click on this one, okay, this is the one. This is the website. Now, in this website, first you can register. In this website, first you can register. I already registered. Okay, I already registered. So let me log in first. Let me log in. So this username and password I changed. I created like yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I created an account, a new account I created. Just I logged in. Okay. I created a new account. Okay, just I logged in. Okay, once you logged in, the user interface is looks like this. npmjs.com. The user interface is looks like this. Once you logged in. Okay, now how many packages are there? See, these many packages are published through this npmjs.com. These many JavaScript packages are there. These packages you can use any JavaScript related applications like React application, Angular application, Node.js application, Vue application, EXTJS application, these many. Overall, these many libraries are there, right? See, weekly basis, these many people are downloading, and monthly basis, these many people are downloading the libraries and using in their applications. If you want to check the packages is there or not there, for example, if you check like React, if you type like React, now see React library there or not there. React is a JavaScript library for building user interfaces like this. If you want Bootstrap, now see my Bootstrap is my library there or not there? Go to strap. My Bootstrap library is there or not there? The most popular front-end framework for developing responsive mobile first projects on the web. Like this, okay, all the libraries you can get it from here. through npm we can get it. Okay, and you can use it. Understood? So my question also, I want to create my own library. I want to publish that library in my npm.js.com so that remaining people can use it or not. Bootstrap is the library that is used by, that is created by some other person, used by me or not, used by you or not. Creator, some other person. I am the user. Now my thing is like, can you become like a creator? Can you become like a creator? If you become like a creator in this world, remaining people can use your library or not. So far you are like a user, you use like React library, Bootstrap library, some other libraries. Just can you become like a creator? Can you create your own library? Can you publish that library so that remaining people can use it or not? Understood everyone? Remaining people can use it or not, that is our goal. Okay now, so first of all, if you want to create a library, first library name you can decide. First you have to decide the library name. If already one library is there, if you publish the library with the same name, here it gives me an error. Okay, why? Because already Bootstrap library is there. If you create and publish same library, same, the library name is like Bootstrap only, again there is a conflict, right? Some other person library created and published with the name of Bootstrap. If you also created and publish, try to publish with the same name, the end user whose library is going to use, yours or some other person, there has a conflict. That the reason, make sure whenever you create a library, that library should be unique in the npm.js world. That library should be unique in the npm.js world. Then only they accept to publish your library. Otherwise, they are going to give some errors. They are going to give some errors. Understood? So that makes sure, first thing is like, if you try to create a library based on your requirement, first the library name you decide and check that library already there or not there. I decided like my library name is like a Bootstrap. Check it. Bootstrap is there or not there? Bootstrap is there, exact match. Bootstrap is there, exact match. You can get the first one. Bootstrap is there, so that don't go with that Bootstrap. Some other name you can. Okay, my VTS. Okay, library. If you write like this, my VTS library is there or not there? VTS library is there or not there? Not there. My VTS React library. My VTS React library. There or not there? If it is really there, then the time you can find as like a first item. See, okay, React router DOM. This library, React router DOM. There or not there? Yes, there. That the reason you can find as like a first search item or not? Yes. No. So if you decide a name, you can check here, okay, whether it is like already existed or not. If it is existed, you can find in the search items list. If it is not existed, your name you may not see here. So React router down, it's there. So that don't go with that. So VTS React library, VTS React library, there or not there? VTS React library is there or not there? VTS React library is there or not there? Not there.
Not.
That's the reason you can go with this library or not. That's the reason just you can go with this library. Okay, so my library name is like what? VTS React library. I decided any name based on your requirement. Now come here. Let me create one folder, workshop. Now I want to create one application. Two applications I want to create. One application for create a library and publish. Another one is like test my library. Two applications I want to create. One application I want to go with the wait command. Okay, wait command you can say VITE. Another one is like I want to create manually. Both I want to show you. First, create a folder with your library name. Create one folder. This is my folder. This is my folder. In this particular folder, first thing is like I need like to register all my libraries. I want to create like package.json file. I want to create like a package.json file. All the steps you can find here. See, First one is like, okay, you can create an application. To create a package.json, just run npm init is the command. So npm init command, you can run it where in this particular folder. So let me open this folder in my VS Code. Let me open this folder in my VS Code. File, open folder. Just open. Now, once you open this one, once you open, you can run one of the command called as a npm init is the command to create the package.json. Okay, so if you want to run that command, open the terminal. Just I opened the terminal. Now here, I don't want to go with the PowerShell. Go with the command prompt. PowerShell, you can delete it. Now run npm init is the command. Whenever you run npm init command, okay, it is going to create the package.json file. It's going to create package.json file, and it is going to ask you some questions. Okay, just you can answer those questions. Okay. Now, once you create it, now see, okay, now like this, just you can click on enter, enter, enter like that. Okay, now it's created like package.json file or not. It's created like package.json file. That first thing you have to do this one. And then to create the library, you have to follow some specific, okay, properties or configuration. For that, can you do one thing? Now, in the package.json, you have okay multiple properties, right? Can you replace with these properties? Can you replace with these properties? Now, I remove this one. Just I added this. First thing is like your library name. What is the library name? What is the library name? You decided VTS React library or not. Your library name different versions 1.0 for now. Okay, if you want to add some new features, you can go with the 2.0, like that, your wish. The next one is like description, whatever you want you can put it. The next one is like, okay, these are important for us. Okay, these are like a output files generated within the dist folder. So the output file in the dist folder, my library name is what? VTS React library. And here also, okay, my VTS React library. Done. Like this, you can add it. The next one is like build command. Build command. We build. This is the one. The next one is like peer dependencies. Why? Because this is not the development application. It's like what? Okay, it's a kind of library, right? So that remaining people can use it. So this is like a compatible version. Whenever you use this library, in your application React version should be 18. Your application React version should be 18. So like this, you can mention the peer dependencies. The next one is like dev dependencies. Okay, develop, okay, to build your application, these dependencies are required. So dev dependencies also you can add it. Dev dependencies, when it is required, I will show you. So this is the one. Your application, okay, your library name, and your okay output, okay, your output files. And then if you want to build your application, you can build it. And the peer dependencies, if you want to use this application somewhere, that application React should, the version is like 18, React DOM, the version should be like 18. Okay, these changes you can do in the package.json. Dev dependencies we can add it now. That is the first thing in the package.json. These changes you can do it. The next one is like, okay, create your library, right? In the library, what we are going to place? Library is nothing but what? Okay, simple JavaScript file. Library is nothing but it's like a simple JavaScript file, .js file, which contains what, you know, which contains variables, which contains functions, okay, which contains functions, which contains classes. If it is like a JavaScript library, if it is like a React library, which contains what? Components or not. Now we are developing like React library. That's the reason our main focus is on like components. I want to create like a component. If you want to create like a JavaScript library, instead of components, so just you can create like a variable, so functions, so classes, so like that. Your wish. But React also JavaScript library only, right? React is like what? It's a subset to JavaScript only or not? Yes or no? So while developing JavaScript library or React library, the procedure and everything is like same. If it is like a React library, you can create like a components. Okay, if it is like a JavaScript library, core JavaScript library, you can create the variables, functions, classes, something like this. Variables or functions or classes is something like this. Got my point? So our goal is like what? I want to create a React library. That's the reason I want to create like a component. So simple library only can. Now in the source folder, let's create a source folder. Okay, create one simple component. One file you can create it. Like this, any number of components you can create. Any number of components you can create. I have a player component, player.jsx. I have a player component. I have a okay player.jsx. Now let's create a component. How we can create a component like this. Now in this one, whatever you want to render, okay, that content you can write it. Hello, hello. Okay, here I'm expecting a prop. I'm expecting a prop. Okay, that particular prop name you can mention. Okay, who want to use this player component? They supposed to be pass one prop. Whenever you pass, okay, that prop name. Okay, if it is like a Sachin, the output should be allow Sachin or not. So simple component I created, which is like player. Like this, any number of components you can create. Like this, any number of components you can create. I have one more component I want to create. It's like a list component, list.jsx. Okay, you can create. Okay, here I'm okay expecting some data. I'm expecting some data. Whenever you pass the data, that data I want to render in the order list format. So how we can, if the data.map, okay, here what you need to do, data.map return li, close my li. Every time you can get like one value comma key, and here that value I want to print it. Okay, here key is nothing but index. Okay, here my key equals to index or not. Simple. My key is like index. I created like, don't focus on this one. If you have an idea on React, this syntax is like very simple only. I created like how many components in my library? Two components I created. One is like player component, another one is like list component. My player component is expecting name as like a prop, and my list component is expecting like what? Some data. Some data. My list component is expecting like some data or not. Agreed with me? Okay. So I created like two components. Like this, any number of components you can create, no problem at all. Once you created these components, you can export these components or not. Okay, so if you come here, okay, here, once package.json is done, you can create a components. Any number of components you can create. Any number of components you can create. Okay, once you created a component, okay, or components, you have to export those components. See this, you created a component, and then you can export that component by creating like, you can export that component. Where is that? Okay, you can add CSS also. You can export that component. Okay, how we can export it? You can create index.js file. Okay, simply you can export that component. Now you can create like index.js file. In the index.js file, get the list component and then get the player component. Okay, now I want to export these components. I want to export these components. So one file can export one component with default. So that I'm going to export player component as like default, and I'm going to export, okay, my list component like without default. I'm going to export my list component is like without default. You got my point? So one file can export with default how many values? Only one. Export without default how many? Any number of or not. So let me create one more component is like, for example, my button dot, okay, jsx, my button dot jsx, react arrow functional component. Okay, my button, okay, is like a login button, for example, simply. Okay, my button is like login. My button is like login. Now this component I want to export it. So how we can, first can I get that component, import my button. Within a single file, you can export with the default how many values? Only one value. So I export with the default player. Without default, how many you can export means any number. So that in my library, three components are there. Among those three components, I exported with the default. One component is like player. Without default, I exported like list and my button or not. List and my button. Like this, any number of components you can create based on your requirement. Like this, any number of components you can create based on your requirement. So once it is done, I am using like wait command to build my application, so that this wait command I want as like a dev dependency. For that, if it is like a library, you have to write like one of the configuration file, config.js file. So create this particular file. So in your project folder itself, just you can create the file. In your project folder itself, just you can create the file. Okay. The file name is like this, config.js. Okay. Create a file. What happened? Config.js. Okay. Now here, okay, once you created like config.js file, in that JS file, just you can add all this stuff. Okay, you can add all this stuff. Okay, in this one, see, you require like whenever you do the build, they are going to use this config.js file. So first of all, with command is required. Another one is like with JS and plugin React. These two libraries required. These two libraries you have to install like a dev dependencies. So how we can install like a dev dependencies? Npm install, okay, vite. And the next one is like, this is one more library. This is one more library. Okay, if you not install, then the time you can get like an error. So that make sure install these two libraries. Okay, as like a dev dependencies. Now, if you observe the package.json, peer dependencies are there. Now I'm installing like dev dependencies. One is like wait, another one is like with JS plugin React. Now just wait for some time. Here, there has one more property is going to add. Here, there has one more property is going to add. Peer dependency is there. Na? Like that, there has one more property is like a dev dependencies are going to add. Dev dependencies. Okay, once it is done, now see this, there has a dev dependencies added or not. Okay, dev dependencies, three types of dependencies you can see. Normal dependencies, okay, dev dependencies and peer dependencies. Dependencies are used in your development type, in the production also. Dev dependencies we are going to use only in the development mode. Peer dependencies we are going to use, okay, it's like whenever you publish your library, it is going to tell something compatible versions. Who want to use this library, they should have to use like React is 18 version, React DOM is like 18 version, like this they are going to tell. Okay, so now my dev dependency is also having. Once it is done, once the configuration and everything is completed, now I want to build this application. If you want to build this application, now see here, okay, we have the command called as what? Build is the command. Okay, internally it is going to use like what? With build. Okay, so run build command. Whenever you run, if you get some errors, then the time you can fix it. Whenever you run this one, now see here, okay, there has one dist folder created. In the dist folder, you mentioned right in the package.json. See this. Okay, okay, here VDS React library. Okay, the next one is like VDS React library. These you mentioned or not? Yes or no? Those are like added or not? They're okay. Now in the config.js, now see here, okay, you should have to change this one. Okay, let's change it. Okay, Now you copy pasted, right? You didn't change that, the reason my is added. Let me delete this one. Now here, what is my library name? Library name is what? VTS React library. Done. The library name you can mention. Here, the file name formats you can mention here. The file name formats. The library is like what? VTS React library, like this. You can mention. These two changes you can make. The remaining all are like same. Now you can run again the same command. npm run build. Okay, whenever you run, if you go to the list, now VTS React library, VTS React library in the package.json, whatever you mentioned, those are like visible here or not. Okay, ESJS and UMDJS like this extensions. Yes or no? Okay, now you have the dist. Once you have the dist, this one you have to publish it now. This one you have to publish it now. If you want to publish, okay, how we can publish, you know? Okay, you have to create an account in okay, npmjs.org or npmjs.com. Now I already have the account. That's the reason. Just you can run this command. Okay, how we can run this command? In your library folder, just run npm login is the command. Npm login. Whenever you run this command, it is going to ask like, okay, through command, I am trying to log in. Okay, please enter to open in the browser, he said. So I clicked on the enter button. Whenever I clicked on the enter button, okay, it is going to ask for username and password. Let's give the username and password. Okay, my password also you can give it. Now you can do sign in. Okay, it's going to ask for one-time password. Okay, let me give the one-time password. Okay, 387720. 387720. Let's log in. Now authentication is like successful. Whenever authentication is like successful, now see logged in into registry.npmjs.org or not. Yes, done. Now once you log in, this particular library you have to publish, right? So if you want to publish this library, there has one more command is there. There has one more command, npm publish. Okay, this is the command. This is the command. Control C. Now you can run this command. Now whenever you run this command, okay, again it is going to ask for what? Authentication. Press enter to open in the browser is said. So again I enter. Now it is going to ask for one-time password. Let me give you the one-time password. My one-time password this time 197. The next one is like 725. Now if I click on the login, now you click on the login, authentication is like successful. Now this particular library is supposed to be published. Now see, VTS React library is like published with which version? 1.0.0 version or not? Yes or no? Now the published versions, okay, that these packages, published version is like 1.0. These all packages where we can see your packages, okay, you can see in the packages section. In the packages section, now see your VTS React library, okay, is like published or not. This is another library. Okay, this is my VTS React library, just now published few seconds ago. It's like published or not. Now you can check, okay, if you have, okay, if you open the mission, okay, you can simply go to npmjs.org or .com and you can check for this particular library. Okay, there or not there, you can check it. Okay, here I can check, okay, VTS React library. Okay, it's take some time. Now if I click on this one, simply it is go to one, okay, it's navigate to some other page. Now see, this is the page. This is the page. Now if anybody want to use this particular library, in their application they have to install this library, okay, and then they can use it or not. In this particular library, total how many files are there? 3 files are there. The library version is like 1.0.0. At this moment no one downloaded this particular library. Okay, so you published your library. Now the next thing is like what? You have to use this library or not. Once you publish this one, you have to use your library or not. Now see here, okay, how to React library, how to create. You created a library and you published that library or not. Okay, I'm able to see my library in my npm js world or not. Now library name is like what? vts react library is the one. So I'm able to publish. Now this is the time for what? I want to test this library, I want to use this library or not. So how we can use it? Okay, if you are in front of your missions, just you can work with me. I want to create one React application. Just I want to create one React application. So how we can create a React application? Using read command or create React app command, or you can go with the create React router command, or you can go with the Next.js command. Any one of these one you can use. I prefer like wait. So npx create my application is like what? Test library. Yeah, test library. Yeah. Now you have to mention using this command any kind of application you can create. You can mention which application, React application I want. You can tell JavaScript, okay, with some compiler, just you can. Now my application skeleton created. See here, test library app created. Let me open that application in the another window. Just open that application file, open folder, file, open folder, go to the desktop, go to the workspaces, workshop, and test library app or not. Okay, now this is my actual application. In this application, in the package.json, if you observe, react dom is there. Okay, some dev dependencies are there. That's okay, fine. Now I want to use my application, right? So first of all, run this application. So how we can run it? If you want to run this application, first can you download all the libraries first? So how we can download the libraries? Npm install is the command. Npm install is the command. First you can run this. I want to run this application. Just wait, it takes some time. Once you install this command, I want to run the application in the development mode. So you can go with the npm run dev is the command. Npm run dev is the command. Okay, it takes some time. Okay, yes, okay, npm install is done. Now I want to run it. Npm run dev is the command. Whenever you run, okay, you can see your application in this particular. You can see our application in this particular location. Now see, this is the one. I don't want, okay, I don't want currently what they written. Just I want to delete everything. App.jsx. Okay, just let me delete it. Let me delete it. Okay, here you can write like hello. Done. Now see, you can see the hello or not. Yes. Now your application is running. Now in my application, I want to use my library, right? Okay, what is my library name? What is my library name? Okay, if you come here, vts react library. I want to install, I want to use this library in my application. For that you have to install this library or not. So you can install it. So how we can install? I copied this one, just install here. Now if you want to install it, open the command prompt. In the package.json, if you observe, only dependencies react to react dom is there. Now I want to use my own library. I want to use my own library. Now it gives me some error. Just fix that one. Now here the peer dependencies are like what? But peer dependencies are like what? You are using like 18, right? Okay. So just you can go with the 18. Okay. Dependencies, just you can go with the 18. 18 point something like this, right? Just you can go with the 18. Okay. Now, once you made any changes in the package.json dependencies or dev dependencies, better to run npm install command again. Npm install command, you can run it. Okay, now once you run this one, now you can install vts react library. You can install vts react library. Now I install vts react library. Are you able to see that library or not? Yes or no? Are you able to see this library or not? With which version? 1.0 version or not? Okay, now if you see here, the library name is like vts react library. The version is like 1.0. The version is like 1.0. Done. Now in this library, how many components they exported? In this library, how many components they exported? All this information you have to place in your github page. How many components they exported? Come on.
Three.
One with default, two
Two without
without
default.
default or not. So import, okay, from where? Come on, vts in this only, right? Import from where? If you go to the package.json, okay, vts react library or not, from here only, right? vts react library from here only. Let just delete all these things. Control Z, Control Z. Okay, let me delete this one. This one we are not using. Just you can delete. Okay, this one also not required. You can delete it. Okay, done. Now, which one? Player is the one, right? Player. Okay, the player one exported with default or without default? Without default. Whenever it is like without default they exported, you can import with what? With the destructuring format like this or not? With the destructuring format. If it is like a node modules, from the node modules, if you take the libraries, the library name no need to give like a relative path, directly you can give the name like this. Now my player is the component, right? My player is the component, okay, which is expecting how many props? Which is expecting
One.
like how many props? One prop. The prop name is like what? The prop name is like name or not? The prop name is like name. Whenever you use that one, okay, now if you come here, it gives some error, you can fix it, that error. Now go to the console. What is that error? Does not provide a exported name. Does not provide an exported name player. Okay, what is the name they provided then? The next one is like, can you take for the list? Okay, list. Okay, we'll see that list first. Okay, list is expecting what? List is expecting what?
Some data.
Some data, right? Okay, data is like okay, list format, right? Okay, data is like Sachin and something like Dhoni. Sachin and Dhoni. Yes, sir. Okay, let me rerun npm run dev. Now, if you come here, now if you see this, this is not updated or what?
So list is a normal export, right?
Okay, you can check. This is the source. In the index.js, what it did? Export default is like player, right?
Yes.
That is the problem. Okay, the player is the export default one. Nah? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, that one we did a mistake. Okay, here my name equals to what? Such. Okay, na? List and remaining are like what? Remaining are export without default or not? See this. List export without default. And my button also what? Export without default only or not? Yes or no? That's the reason you are getting like an error. My button also export to without default. So now can I write like my button? Now see here, my player is like they exported with default, so I imported with default. List to my button, they exported with default, without default, so I imported without default, like destructuring format or not. Now if you come here, now you can see my hello Sachin printed or not? Yes or no? My hello Sachin printed or not? The next one is like Sachin Dhoni I passed, so that my Sachin Dhoni is like printed or not? The css if you don't want, Okay, just you can remove that css so that you can see top corner. If you come here, I'll say this, hello Sachin. Okay, this is like my player component or not. The next one is what? This is what? My list component or not? This is what? My login button or not? Yes, sir. Okay, now not only me, in this world, anyone can use this library or not? Yes or no? In their application, just they can do like npm install vts react library. Okay, they can import all the components whatever they exported, and then they can use it, and then they can use it. Yes or no? Got my point? So this is the way you can create your own library, and then you can publish that library in the npm js, and then you can use your library or not. Agreed, everyone? Okay,
Sir,
so yeah, go ahead.
if we want this one as a private also we can do. It's
Yeah,
like public.
if it is like a private, then that time, okay, in the npm js you have to take like some subscription. That procedure is like something different, like
Oh,
private you have to create.
okay, okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so let's see step by step what we did. Okay, come to the library. First thing is like, just you created like one library folder. You decide the library name first. You create one folder first, and then okay, create the package.json. If you want to create it manually, the command is like what? npm init is the command. Once you get the package.json, okay, the thing is like important thing, peer dependencies you have to mention. You have to mention the peer dependencies. These are like a compatible versions. Okay, see, if I mention like 18, it is work with 18 only, like that. So that make sure, okay, you have to mention the peer dependencies. Once done, okay, here, okay, okay, you this one is like output files also, the structure you can mention here, the files in the dist folder, how many files are there, those are. Once the package.json configuration you completed, based on your requirement, how many components you want to create, you can create based on your requirement. How many components? One library can contain any number of components, right? Yes or no? Library can contain any number of values. It's nothing but react means components. If it is like normal javascript, it may be a variable, it may be a function, it may be a class, any number of you can write it. Same like this here also, I created like multiple components. These all components I want to export it, right, as like a library. So that take one index.js file. From this file only you have to export your values. You have to export your values. Now if you come here, list and player and my button, three components I imported. So one file can export with default how many values? Only one. So that with default I exported player. Without default how many? Any number. So that any number of values you can export with default. Okay, with default only one. Without default any number of values you can export. Once this particular configuration and everything is completed, you can go to white config.js file. Okay, here you can mention the library names, all this stuff. Okay, you can get it from internet, this particular file. Don't think more about this one. Now once you have this file, okay, you can think my library development is completed. Once my development is completed, the next one is like what? Output files are required. For that purpose, I want to run one of the command called as a npm run build is the command. Whenever you run this command, output files generated within the dist folder as you mentioned. Once you have this dist folder, these files I want to publish it. For that purpose, I want to log in into npm, okay, npmjs.com. So that command is like npm login is the command, and then I want to publish it. And then I want to publish it. For that also I have, okay, some commands like this. Once if you want to log in, okay, if you want to log in, npm login is the command. If you want to publish it, npm publish is the command. Once it is like published, you can see your libraries in your account, where you can see once you log in, there is a packages section is there. If you click on the packages section, you can see your library with a version of 1.0 or 2.0 or 3.0, whatever it is. If I click on this one, you can get some more information about this library. Okay, how to use it and how many downloads, how many people used this one. Like this you can come to know. Like this you can come to know. Now if you observe here, This is the library. If you want to use, you can use this command and the version and all these things. Okay, do not mention any description that there is not visible anything here, not visible anything here. Got my point? Now, say this particular one is like a output file in the package.json. By seeing this one, the period dependencies, everything you can come to know. Based on that one, you can do some changes in your development application. Okay. Now, once my library created and published, I want to use that library. Whenever you want to use that library, now I created one application. Okay, in this particular application, just I want to run, okay, one command called npm install vts react library is the command. Whenever you run this one, okay, this library is installed in my application. So the library contains multiple components. Some are like exported with default, without default. If they exported with default, I can import like this without destructuring format. If they exported without default, I can import like this. Okay, once I have the components, I know React, how to use those components, just I use like this or not. Yes or no. Now, this particular library, not only me, in this world, anyone can install it, anyone can use it or not. Got my point? Appear okay? So this is the way you can create your own React library and publish and use it. Okay, just you can try. If you have any questions, just feel free to drop a mail. Okay, we can respond. Okay, this is our website vtsschool.com. Okay, this is the mail ID. Just you can drop a mail. Otherwise, you can do chat also, WhatsApp. You can pick if you're stuck with something. Okay, our team is going to respond. They are going to pass the message to me so that I can respond.
Sir, sir, one request. Can you please share that PPT?
Yeah, give me 1 minute. Okay,
Yeah,
now itself I'm going to share. Okay, I don't want to share the node modules. Okay, just
sir.
let me delete those. Why? Because these are like a heavy. I don't want to share it. Okay, I deleted node modules in the test, and I deleted node modules from my this one also. Okay, and then this PPT. Where is the PPT? Okay, here is my PPT. Let's close it. There's this one, the whole workshop. Okay, compress it to zip. Okay, this is my workshop. Okay, how I'm going to share with you now? Just go to WinSCP. Okay, WinSCP not FileZilla, I guess in this. Go to FileZilla. Connect. Let's go to Kalam's course. Okay. Downloads. Now, where is ours? In the desktop, right?
Yes, yes.
Desktop, workshop, the desktop, workshop is the zip. Where is the zip? This is the one. Now, okay, let's override it. Okay, now can you go to the Kalam schools? Can you go to the Kalam schools? Workshop. Can you go to this website, kalamschools.com? Okay, once you go to this website, there has notes is there, no? Notes section. Go to the workshop. Go to the workshop. Now here, okay, this is our running notes. Okay, just few things only. Now, if you want to download, you can download this running notes. Okay, now the running notes like this. The next one is like if you want to download that particular zip code. Okay, just click on this one. Now you can see that zip file also. You can see that zip file also gets downloaded. Now if you go to this one, okay, if you go to this one, see, this is the zip file downloaded. If you open this zip file, okay, workshop, now test library, workshop, react library, everything is there. Okay, na?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so go to the Kalam schools. Okay, go to notes section, go to workshop.
Okay, sir.
Okay, there you can find it. Any other questions? Okay, then I'll upload this video also. Just you can go through that video. Okay. Okay, then.
Okay, sir.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you, sir.